of price target on Ether?
Well, what I can say is that it was trading around 1,400 not that long ago. I think it was
like a month ago.
2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I was saying to myself, this is so undervalued because that was the high 3 or 4 years ago in 2017.
Right.
And Bitcoin was already, 3x the previous high of 2017. And I felt like Ethereum's so undervalued. And of course, it's just, ripped up to 4K, and Bitcoin's looking a little boring right now. And I'm sure, they're just going to vie, and then people move.
Well, it's interesting you say that. I put a note on SumZero a month ago, being like, there's a 4 to 5x delta between Bitcoin market cap and Ethereum. This just makes no sense when, you could see the traffic on Ethereum at levels never seen before, with all the DeFi stuff happening, and now it's at like 4,000. I mean, I feel like in July it could easily, be somewhere between 5,000 and 10,000. But do you think about any kind of like fundamental? I mean, the thing that's interesting about Ethereum is that, unlike Bitcoin, because it is predicated on transaction costs, like you can actually DCF the value of the Ethereum network. You're going to make all kinds of assumptions on growth, obviously, but do you ever think about taking gas fees over an annual period and just treating it as revenue to the network and putting a multiple on it and seeing what you get?
I haven't done that analysis, but I'm sure you or there's a lot of bright members on SumZero who could do it. So I'd love to see it. I have not personally done it, but yeah, I think you're right. 5,000, 5 to 10 feels like a reasonable range towards year end. And I guess if we're currently at Ethereum's maybe 50% market cap of Bitcoin, and we think Bitcoin's a 10x from here, I see no reason to believe that Ethereum isn't at least a 10x sort of lockstep.
Right.
And maybe quite frankly, a lot more, to my previous comments about how do you put a bound on this type of innovation and creativity? You really can't. So there's a psychology here. Like I remember when Bitcoin broke 50,000, it was like hovering at like 48, 49, and we're humans, right? So there's psychology. I think if Ether breaks 5,000, it just feels psychologically like a really interesting inflection point.
People like round numbers.
Yeah, people like round numbers. Then at 10,000, people's heads are going to explode.
Yeah.
So look, we love both these projects. They're incredible, and I think that they'll probably move lockstep in many ways. But right now, the focus has been on Ether. It's super hot, and you could argue that it was not there in large part because people were really focusing on Bitcoin during the early half of the pandemic and inflation. And I think that will come back, and it will just sort of go between the two. And I think they both got very, very bright futures. But you wanted to talk about NFTs.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Gemini obviously also owns and operates Nifty Gateway. Do you guys want to just give an overview of your just broad view on A, like why NFTs are relevant, 2, to just kind of connect that to Ethereum and what the relationship there is? I don't think that's well understood, but if you can just kind of give an overview, that'd be great.
Sure. So an NFT is a non-fungible token, and meaning it's sort of, say, one of a kind, and most of them are built on Ethereum, and these tokens represent ownership in an asset. And in the case of NFTs, often that's digital art, and so it is an authenticity or provenance of ownership in this digital image. And these tokens, they often live on the Ethereum blockchain, and they've sort of exploded in interest because I think once the NFT format came around, you could build an asset around digital art. Prior to NFTs, digital artists would build digital art, but how do you sell something that you can't really prove the level of scarcity or ownership? And NFTs bring scarcity to digital art the same way Bitcoin brought scarcity to digital money, which is otherwise ones and zeros, which are plentiful. And so this, to us, it's sort of, so we bought, let me just step back for a second. We bought Nifty Gateway, a marketplace for NFTs about 2 years ago. And I think when we were doing sort of diligence and learning about the space, we met with people in the NFT space. And first of all, the energy was insane, and the passion and the conviction of these individuals. And it felt a lot like Bitcoin in 2012 when we found Bitcoin, and it felt like this thing hiding in plain sight. And we realized this was a frontier of crypto we had to be a part of and try and build into. And I think in hindsight, it sort of makes so much sense, in as much as that everything's moving online. Why not art? There's trillions of dollars of art in the offline, real, like, meat space world. And there must be some version of digital art. And the challenge had always been scarcity and really ownership. How do you actually build scarcity around these assets? So I think that, in short, NFTs are digital art, and the sort of the one, I think, great example that sort of highlights what's been going on in this movement is this artist Beeple. He had been doing digital art every day for 13 years, called his Everydays, and every day he would just put up this piece. He never sold any of it. He couldn't monetize it. How can you sell a picture that you post on Instagram? And then he did his first drop ever of NFTs on Nifty Gateway, and all of a sudden people were, because they could sort of prove ownership.
When you say a drop, you mean he just offered it for sale?
Exactly. Sorry. So think of it like an art show. We call them NFT drops, but think of it. Sure. People showed in Nifty Gateway, and we like to say that the internet is the NFTs gallery, because literally anybody in the planet can come to Nifty Gateway and bid on or buy these NFTs. And I can't remember exactly what his first drop did. Color, did his first drop do 4 million, or was that his second drop? Either way,
second drop did 4 million, which at the time was just unheard of.
Right.
And then Christies contacted him and say, "Hey, do you want to sell an NFT? We saw what you did, your second drop on Nifty Gateway. Do you want to sell an NFT in an auction and be put in the same lot with Andy Warhol?" And of course, we know that people said yes, and then that NFT went on to.
What is Christies' connection to Nifty Gateway? Like, why does he need Christies?
So Christies was uninvolved in the first two drops at Nifty Gateway. My point with bringing them up is that they saw his success on Nifty Gateway, and then they invited him to auction with them the piece that sold for 69 million. So
that was not sold on Nifty Gateway. That was just
not. But of course, the merchandise of NFTs, Beeple NFTs from drop 1 and 2 on Nifty Gateway traded up and a lot because of what happened.
Of the Christies auction.
That price signal in Christies.
And I think one of the most interesting things about NFTs is that when an artist sells an NFT, and that digital art sells again, that they actually get a cut of that second sale, almost like is this essentially a royalty that lasts through time? So no matter how many times a piece exchanges hands, that artist is monetizing that sale, like really without having to do anything.
That's right. It's programmatic. And so if you think of like artist estates, like the Warhol estate, for example, or Basquiat, once that piece is sold initially, the artist never sees any of that. And it's incredible. I mean, it's dramatic if you think of the artists where their pieces are now trading for tens of millions of dollars, right?
Right.
And generally, you see very little, if anything, of that, or the artist and or their estate. And so that's a huge level of empowerment for creators. Not only can they now now not only can digital artists now monetize that medium, but really all artists have a level of empowerment and can go direct literally to anybody in the world with these assets.